Tom and I were determined to shoot in Paris.
Paris, that was incredible.
We wanted to do things that hadn't been done in Paris before.
The sequence is incredibly dangerous.
Speeding through Paris at 100 miles an hour with Tom Cruise at the wheel.
Only Tom Cruise can do that.
I love movies. I grew up watching so many great films that were made in Paris. To be able to go there to celebrate a city of cinema, it's very rewarding.
We wanted to do something that really showcased the city. We are under the city, in the city, over the city. You see every possible corner of Paris in this chase. We had watched a short film called Rendezvous.
There's a chase that was inspired by Rendezvous. I love that movie. I remember seeing it the first time. So it really inspired both of us.
What I like to do is let the locations dictate the action. The first thing we did when we were developing this story was come to Paris and let the city tell us what the action was going to be.
Paris is such a beautiful city, and to shoot there was something of a dream. We had some unprecedented access to not just the roads, but also the river, which was a fantastic privilege.
They really allowed us to use the city, the Arc de Triomphe, every street that we asked for.
I think big films normally come to Paris for sort of 3-4 days. And we are here for shooting with the main unit here for 8 weeks.
We locked up the Avenue de l'Opera and along the banks of the River Seine.
We had an idea that we wanted to film big, iconic locations, so it was more logistics around that.
To get the permission was an amazing thing in its own right.
Tom's character, Ethan, is running away from the police, starts in a truck, jumps onto a motorbike, has a very gnarly crash, and then into a car.
The truck's plowing through a junction and Tom's just going to crash into one of the oldest streets in Paris.
Ethan is running away in a BMW M5. It's an amazing car.
It was a hand-built motorsport car.
He's a very, very good driver, Tom. I remember asking Wade Eastwood, our stunt coordinator, who was going to do the driving. Wade said, "Oh, Tom's the best driver I have."
He's a natural in all sorts of vehicles. He's drifting the car like he's owned it for years.
Tom tortured the M5.
It was like going down stairs backwards in a car and spinning it round. I mean, there's no like rigs or anything, they just do it.
He drove down a very tight road on cobbles, turned the car around, he drove it straight off a 5-foot drop-off. I mean, there aren't many stunt people in the world that are capable of doing that.
The thing just didn't break. We smashed it, we hit it, we jumped curves in it, we drifted it, I mean, it was indestructible.
All the reactions you see of us in the car are real because we are spinning around doing handbrake turns, and it's such a treat to be able to actually do that stuff.
Motorcycle chase in Paris was nerve-wracking for many reasons, the main one being that Tom was riding a motorbike on the streets without a helmet.
I spent a lot of time training on the motorcycles. You know, they're very challenging.
There's a BMW R90 Scrambler. It's a sort of urban bike, and we've tricked it up a bit. We've tried a few compounds of tires.
The guys do an amazing job with these bikes, changing the tires if it's a cold day so that I've got stick.
He's doing it all practically, he's doing it all free riding. A lot of the streets in Paris are cobblestones, which are much more slippery. It's harder to control the bike.
One slip, he falls, and we have a huge problem.
It only takes one knock in your head and it can be a fatal accident. There's only so much protection and help you can give.
Every time he gets on it, it scares the life out of me. He's got 2 speeds, which is to stop and flat out, but he's a great rider. So although I stand there and I'm just terrified sometimes, he has got lots of control, and he's used to bikes this big, so he's good.
Tom was always very careful on the bike. He knew his limits. He would push to the limit, but he'd never go beyond.
It's not a city that's known for closing things and bringing a major film of this scale into the city. We shut down the Arc de Triomphe, which has never been done before. They actually said no a whole bunch of times.
In the film industry, we don't take the first, second, or third no.
And we kept kind of asking, and finally we said, well, what if we just asked for an hour?
There was only one day in the spring they were closing the Arc de Triomphe.
We took it.
The city of Paris gave us control of the Arc de Triomphe from 6 in the morning until 8 in the morning. By the time the sun came up, that gave us about an hour to do all of the shooting that we had.
I'll show you the exit. All right, buddy, you got it?
It is Paris, it is busy. Keep a lookout all the time, please.
The good thing will be letting cars split you, letting him get away.
Follow me. We're just going to get what we're going to get. It's going to be good stuff. Thank you.
Let's go, let's shoot.
When the clock struck, we loaded all our vehicles in and shot with as many cameras as we could.
I had 20 police cars, plus 60 cars, plus all the motorcycles. Just moving that amount of vehicles through a city like this is difficult.
Tom drives the wrong way against traffic around the Arc de Triomphe.
It's just going head-on into traffic and flat out.
The sequence that McHugh designed, he just pulled out all the stops.
We had an hour, so what we needed was efficiency. We had 4 lanes of traffic, stunt guys all doing this sort of different spacing, all going around. Tom would come weaving through on the bike.
If one stunt guy got it a second wrong, it would then involve Tom being in a huge crash. At that level, at that speed, you have to be so calm in order to do these things.
There were lots of complicated pieces. Any one slip-up could have tripped the whole thing up. Everybody performed perfect. It was quite incredible.
We had this huge day at Arc de Triomphe. We had a huge day at Rue d'Opera, and we ended up having to do both of them back to back. These things aren't usually done.
This was an impossible day, and you have proved that nothing is impossible with Mission Impossible.
You walk away floating on clouds because you pulled off what seemed not possible.
We shot as quickly as we could, had no idea what the footage looked like, and what we captured was pretty spectacular. Nobody is ever gonna believe you did it. They can call me and I'll tell them.
It's a hell of an achievement to be doing a Mission Impossible movie in Paris with cars, bikes, boats, and trucks. Doesn't get better, really.
Pretty convinced if this crew needed to put somebody on the moon, they could do it.